Hello, this video is being designed to demonstrate how to do close and critical reading, sometimes abbreviated as CCR. This technique was created by Dr. Elaine Weber and emphasizes literacy. Teachers, to get this activity started, you can use any article or book passage that you would like your students to read. As you see in front of you, I have an article pertaining to the Second World War and some of its causes. To start the process, I usually read through the article or passage and pull out some vocabulary terms. We discuss these with the students prior to getting the close and critical read started, and I would pick out the terms that I would think students would have a problem with. So when they read it later in the activity, it would not be something that would throw them for a curveball. To get the close and critical reading activity started, I like to break it down into 3 parts. In the first part, you would pass out the article to students and let them know that you will be reading them several prompts. With that in mind, you would ask students to take out a highlighter or pass a highlighter around. Based on the prompts that you read students will respond accordingly by highlighting the proper piece of the passage that would satisfy the prompt. Let me give you a second to take a peek at some of the prompts I have designed for this activity. The prompts you could see correlate to the paragraph that students are reading. And you can see in the first prompt, it asks students to highlight something that references the years that we're reading about. So let's say that I just read that to students. Students would then highlight in paragraph 1 the years as asked or directed in the prompt. If I could take you back to the prompts, let me read the second prompt as I would read them to my students. In paragraph 1, highlight what event triggered a declaration of war. So students would then use their highlighter, and in this case it would be the invasion of Poland. Students would highlight that, and then I would read the next prompt. I like to emphasize that each prompt is only read once. This activity emphasizes listening, as well as literacy in reading. After each prompt has been read, and students have highlighted the materials throughout the article, then the pressure is off and part 1 is done. At this point, I usually collect the highlighters or ask students to put them away. At this point, I also ask students to just take a break and read through the article at their leisure. Nothing timed, no prompts flying at them. Just sit back, take 5 minutes, and enjoy a good thorough read of this article at their own pace without any pressure of a prompt. After they have read, students will then start part 2. Part 2 asks students to take out a pen or a pencil, something different than the highlighter. Then we return back to these prompts, and I reread the very same prompts. Students then check the work in terms of what they have highlighted. In part 2, I encourage students to make any corrections that are necessary regarding the prompt and what is being asked of them. As part 2 ends, each student should now have underlined or highlighted the correct information. Part 2 ends with a little discussion about some of the questions that they may have had in the article. We also ask questions pertaining to the writing style of the author, whether it's a credible source, Maybe we jump in and we look at the work cited to see if this is good information that can be trusted. We ask about what kind of writing it is. Is it persuasive? Is it narrative, the voice of the author? And then part 2 would come to an end. In part 3, we ask students to respond to just a brief quiz. Now, if we do not want to do this in a quiz format, sometimes I would read the questions out loud or pass a small piece of paper out with several questions to respond to, or maybe even just give students a little sticky note and ask them to jot down something that they remembered about this article, given our objective, which was to learn about the causes of the Second World War. Just a little piece to assess the activity today, and then that would end the activity. This is the close and critical read activity, and just for a quick summary, students read and highlight, students correct what they have highlighted, and then there's a brief assessment at the end. This was a quick coaching video tutorial on how to do close and critical reading. Mr. Ward, over and out.